Now, when it comes to WNBA players, for some eerie reason, they just got to mention Caitlin Clark's name. And at this point, I am convinced they simply say her name for clicks. I mean, people just got to use her name for clicks. And at this point, she got to be the most talked about player in the entire WNBA.
Okay, this is wild. Caitlin Clark is once again at the absolute center of a drama-filled WNBA storm. What started as just a casual interview suddenly exploded into pure chaos, all because of one careless comment. During a live segment, a teammate of Paige Bueckers was put on the spot and asked to compare her to Caitlin Clark. And honestly, what came next just lit social media on fire.
Like 150-some players, Caitlin Clark's name get mentioned more than anybody. I mean, hell, you got other teams doing pretty much podcasts, players starting podcasts centered around Caitlin Clark. We ain't gonna say no names, but y'all know who I'm talking about. Cause last year they opened it up about her. But at the end of the day, man, they can say what they want. Caitlin Clark is the end-all, be-all to the WNBA.
And get this. WNBA fans were absolutely furious, immediately accusing the player of showing blatant disrespect toward Clark. Within mere hours, clips went viral everywhere. Hashtags were trending like crazy, and fans were demanding accountability. What was supposed to be just harmless sports talk suddenly exposed a massive, growing divide in women's basketball. And this time, the outrage was just impossible to ignore.
Paige Bueckers' teammate blasts Caitlin Clark fans' killer instinct jab without blistering remarks. I'm not fit to even try to pronounce her name. I think it's Lisa blasted, and Caitlin Clark fans take claiming that Paige Bueckers locked killer instinct in her game. The Dallas Wing Center made a guest appearance on the Journey podcast this past Saturday.
So, where did all this chaos even begin? It all kicked off on a live episode of the Journey podcast, where a Dallas Wings player, who happens to be a teammate of Paige Bueckers, was hit with one of those seemingly innocent sports questions. Who's better, Paige or Caitlin? What should have been a super lighthearted comparison instantly became the spark that set social media ablaze.
The show's host, something Wolf, asked the young lady to choose between her teammate and the Indiana Fever Guard. The Wing Center ultimately said her teammate, but let's check out exactly what was said.
Caitlin Clark or Paige Bueckers?
But here's the kicker. Without a second of hesitation, the player started praising her teammate Paige, and then dropped a jab that fans simply couldn't believe. She flat out said Paige had the killer instinct that Caitlin Clark supposedly lacked, a statement that immediately came across as pure shade, directed right at the most talked about player in women's basketball.
Somebody said Caitlin Clark is definitely an important part of the revolution, bro. That's what I just said. Because without Caitlin Clark, bro, wouldn't nobody be talking about none of y'all. When none of y'all had no emotion, hell, you wouldn't even have made Sports Kita if it weren't for Caitlin Clark. Let's just keep it real, man. Y'all know me. I'm the realest out here on the damn internet, and I just gotta keep it real. When nobody care about you, we can't even pronounce your damn name, let alone, you know what I'm saying? I'm making a video about you because you said something about the queen. You know what I'm saying? But it goes on to say Paige Bueckers has a killer instinct. I can confirm 100% from live experience.
Honestly, it felt like the player's loyalty to Paige Bueckers was just too strong. Especially when you think about how Caitlin Clark's Indiana Fever is absolutely shattering viewership records and boosting ticket sales across the entire league.
Like, Caitlin is on Mount Everest and Paige is the Rockies. You know what I'm saying? I just gotta keep it real. I just, like, come on, bro. Like, there's just no comparison right now. Like,
what's even more insane is how fans reacted to that specific comment. So, when someone tried to discredit Caitlin's drive, fans saw it not just as a casual critique, but as a personal attack on the very face of the WNBA's new era. The podcast host tried to smooth things over, laughing it off like it was just friendly competition. But the tone was already set in stone. Fans immediately clipped the remark, slowed it down, and replayed it frame by excruciating frame, analyzing every smirk, every tone, and every ounce of energy behind her words. Suddenly, this small podcast episode blew up, turning into a viral headline across every single major sports outlet. The player probably had no idea her comment would explode this way. But once the internet gets involved, there's absolutely no turning back. And that's when the floodgates opened. Analysts, and even other players, started weighing in, and what happened next truly revealed just how deep the tension runs between Caitlin Clark and the rest of the league. And hey, I like Paige. Truly, I really do. And I don't want to sound like a Paige hater, but she's nowhere near Caitlin Clark's level. By now, it's no secret, Whenever Caitlin Clark's name even comes up, the internet absolutely explodes. It doesn't matter who says it, when they say it, or what the context is. The reaction is immediate, emotional, and often pure chaos. That's just the raw power her name carried. From the moment she stepped into the WNBA, Caitlin became the league's undeniable lightning rod. Loved by millions, resented by a few, and constantly relentlessly under the microscope. So when Paige Bueckers' teammate made that killer instinct comment, it wasn't just another opinion, it was instantly seen as another attempt to diminish a player who's done more for the sport's visibility than anyone in recent memory. Here's the reality: Caitlin Clark's name means clicks, views, and engagement. Whether it's fans hyping her up, or critics taking shots, every single mention of her fuels the conversation, and the algorithm absolutely rewards it. That's precisely why so many players and podcasters keep bringing her up. Even those completely outside of the Indiana Fever's orbit have learned that simply saying Caitlin Clark guarantees attention. And while that might sound flattering, it also paints a giant target on her back. Every offhand comment, every smirk, every single word is dissected by millions of fans looking for deeper meaning. But the deeper question is, why does this keep happening? Why does one player trigger such incredibly strong emotions from everyone in and around the league? Some are quick to say it's pure envy, others call it intimidation. What you have to understand is that Clark represents a massive cultural shift. Someone who literally turned the WNBA into front-page news overnight. Her fan base is massive, passionate, and fiercely protective, which means any hint of disrespect is immediately treated like a personal attack. The Dallas Wings player might have thought she was just speaking her mind, but she accidentally tapped into one of the most sensitive dynamics in modern sport. And that, my friends, is where the real story truly begins. Because this wasn't just about one quote, it became a full-blown reflection of how the WNBA itself handles fame, competition, and plain old jealousy. The Paige Bueckers comparison might have seemed harmless at first glance, but for many fans, it crossed a line the moment it was used to downplay Caitlin Clark's drive. Look, Paige is an incredible player, and absolutely no one questions her talent or leadership at UConn. But putting her name beside Caitlin's in a who's better conversation was always going to cause sparks. Paige's teammate might have intended to just show loyalty, yet her phrasing made it sound like Caitlin lacked something essential, something that truly defines champions. That single phrase, killer instinct, carried the stinging weight of dismissal, and the internet felt it instantly. What made it even worse was the timing. Caitlin Clark had just wrapped up a record-breaking season, where she not only shattered attendance numbers, but helped boost the WNBA's visibility across the board. Her performances were drawing sold-out crowds, and inspiring a whole new generation of fans. So when a player implied she didn't have that edge, people saw it as blatant disrespect to everything she's accomplished. Fans flooded the comments, calling the take tone-deaf, jealous, and just plain wrong. Within hours, the podcast clip became one of the most shared sports videos of the entire week. Paige Bueckers herself hasn't commented, and that silence only created even more speculation. Some wondered if she privately disagreed with her teammates' words, while others assumed she just didn't want to add more fuel to the fire. Either way, her name was now completely wrapped up in a controversy she never asked for. What was meant to be a simple moment of teammate support turned into a full-blown fan war between two massive college legacies, with Iowa and UConn now colliding on the professional stage. In the end, this wasn't about who's better, it was about how quickly loyalty can turn into ugly conflict when social media gets involved. And what followed next showed that WNBA fans weren't about to stay quiet when their star was under attack. As soon as the clip hit social media, it spread like wildfire. Twitter, TikTok, Reddit, every platform lit up with heated debates, hilarious memes, and pure fury. Fans weren't just angry, they were insulted. To them, this wasn't just a player giving her opinion, it was another classic case of someone trying to tear down Caitlin Clark just to lift someone else up. Hashtags like #respect Caitlin and keep her name out your mouth started trending within hours, and even verified accounts began chiming in. The outrage was loud, and it felt deeply personal. People were demanding apologies, explanations, and accountability from the Dallas Wings player who sparked it all. Clips from the podcast were replayed over and over. Some users even slowed the footage, claiming they saw a smirk when Clark's name was mentioned. Others dissected every tone and body language cue, arguing that the intent was clear: disrespect, thinly disguised as an opinion. Meanwhile, Clark's loyal supporters flooded the comments sections of every sports page that shared the story. "She's the reason y'all even have an audience," one fan passionately wrote. "You don't bite the hand that feeds the league." This sentiment was echoed across thousands of replies, truly showing how deeply fans feel that Clark has carried women's basketball into a brand new spotlight. The response didn't stay confined to fans either. Analysts and former players started weighing in, cautioning that this growing pattern of Caitlyn bashing could seriously hurt the league's reputation. A few even pointed out that jealousy might be actively creeping into locker rooms, as Clark's success continues to redefine what fame even looks like in the WNBA. What could have been a small soundbite now symbolized a larger cultural divide between the old guard of players who resent her sudden stardom and the new generation fiercely rallying around her. But here's the most striking part of all. Caitlyn Clark herself said absolutely nothing. No post, no clapback, no reaction whatsoever. And that silence made the backlash hit even harder. Because while others were arguing and making noise, she stayed laser-focused. Not only did she manage to keep the entire world talking for her, but she continued to be a huge hit. As the outrage continued, one uncomfortable truth began surfacing. Jealousy. Whether fans want to admit it or not, a growing number of WNBA players seem to genuinely resent Caitlyn Clark's influence. Every time she steps on the court, she's not just representing the Indiana Fever. She's representing a completely new era of visibility and money that older players simply never experienced. That kind of spotlight naturally breeds tension. So when a teammate of Paige Bueckers casually threw shade on live TV, it felt like the jealousy that's been simmering under the surface for months finally boiled over for everyone to see. It's not hard to understand why. Caitlyn Clark's debut season shattered attendance records, boosted jersey sales, and nearly doubled the WNBA's online engagement. Meanwhile, some veterans who've spent years in the league are still struggling for basic recognition or even endorsement deals. It's not that they dislike Clark personally. It's that her fame has completely redefined what success looks like. And honestly, not everyone is comfortable with that. When someone who's been in the league for a decade sees a rookie instantly become the undisputed face of the sport, insecurities naturally rise. The intense media spotlight only makes it worse. Interviews, sponsorships, commercials. Clark's name is literally everywhere. Some players see that and think the system unfairly favors her, while others recognize that she earned every ounce of attention through sheer performance and undeniable marketability. The jealousy dynamic has become a silent divider in locker rooms, and every small comment, like the one from Bueckers' teammate, becomes amplified as undeniable proof of that underlying friction. But here's the crazy twist. That resentment only helps Caitlyn even more. Every single time someone takes a jab at her, it spectacularly backfires, fueling her popularity even further. Fans rally harder, media covers her more, and sponsors absolutely love her even deeper. What was meant to knock her down ultimately ends up lifting her higher, and the league's inability to control that dynamic is quickly becoming one of its biggest public relations problems. While the internet erupted and players took sides, Caitlyn Clark stayed completely silent. No tweets, no interviews, no passive-aggressive posts, nothing. That silence spoke louder than any statement she ever could have made. It showed restraint, confidence, and a level of maturity that her critics often severely underestimate. Fans immediately noticed, and they flooded timelines, praising her uncanny ability to rise above the noise, saying things like, "She doesn't need to respond, she lets her game do the talking." And in that quiet composure, Caitlyn managed to turn public opinion even more in her favor. Silence has become her secret weapon. When others feed off controversy, Clark keeps her focus firmly on training, community work, and preparing for the next season. It's a strategy that works perfectly in today's attention-driven era, because while everyone else argues endlessly online, she's out there strengthening her brand without even trying. That calm, collected presence has made her an absolute magnet for sponsors and fans alike. Every time someone disrespects her, the stark contrast between her discipline and their drama becomes painfully obvious. Her silence also reveals something deeper about her mindset. Caitlyn understands that words can be twisted, especially in a league still learning how to handle mainstream scrutiny. She knows the more she engages with drama, the more headlines will focus on conflict instead of basketball. By simply staying quiet, she controls the narrative without saying a single word. That's pure power, and few athletes master it this early in their career. Even as the Paige Bueckers controversy kept trending, Clark went about her business, appearing in highlight clips, youth events, and practice footage that constantly reminded everyone why she's the center of attention in the first place. Her game spoke louder than any insult, and by refusing to engage, she made her critics look smaller with every passing day. But that silence wouldn't last forever, because what happened next off the court forced the league itself to finally face the uncomfortable reality it's been desperately avoiding. The WNBA has a serious image problem, and moments like this only make it dramatically worse. Every time a player takes a jab at Caitlyn Clark, the league's credibility takes a hit. Instead of showcasing unity and progress, the WNBA keeps finding itself entangled in petty drama, often shockingly started by its own athlete. Fans who tune in to celebrate women's basketball end up witnessing infighting, envy and frustrating double standard. The Paige Bueckers teammate incident became far more than just a podcast clip. It turned into another stark reminder that the league simply hasn't figured out how to manage fame in the social media era. Caitlin Clark isn't just a basketball player. She's a business engine. She fills arenas, spikes TV ratings, and attracts corporate partnerships that benefit absolutely everyone involved. Yet instead of embracing that success, some players treat her like a literal threat. This attitude completely confuses casual fans who genuinely want to support the league, but simply can't understand why its own stars keep trying to tear down the very person who's keeping it relevant. The disconnect is precisely what's keeping the WNBA from growing as fast as it truly should. League executives have been eerily quiet too. No public statements, no media guidance, no reminders about professionalism. It's as if they're letting the drama play out for clicks, which might work short-term, but it deeply damages the league's reputation long-term. Fans want fierce competition, not pure chaos. They want to see rivalries built on incredible performance, not petty resentment. The WNBA's silence in moments like these makes it seem like it's completely lost control of its own message. This controversy exposed a harsh truth. The league needs to evolve beyond the jealousy and ego that's holding it back. Caitlin Clark didn't create the divide, but she absolutely exposed it. And if the WNBA doesn't start handling these situations better, it risks turning fans away from the very sport it's trying so hard to grow. Because for all the noise, the real issue isn't Caitlin's fame. It's how poorly the league protects it. Through all the noise, Caitlin Clark has managed to do something few athletes ever can: keep climbing while everyone else is arguing. Every headline, every podcast jab, every viral clip only seems to strengthen her influence. She's become more than just a WNBA player. She's a cultural force, the undeniable face of an entirely new era of women's basketball. While others waste energy defending their pride, Clark channels hers directly into performance. She's out there training, improving, and relentlessly preparing for a season where every single move she makes will be watched by millions. Her incredible ability to stay composed has earned her something far more valuable than just attention: true respect. Even some of her critics have started admitting that her focus is absolutely unmatched. She doesn't chase clout, she doesn't clap back, and she definitely doesn't fold under pressure. She plays the long game. That's what truly separates superstars from everyone else. Caitlin Clark knows that the best revenge is simply consistency. Every record she breaks, every sold-out arena she walks into, is another powerful reminder that she doesn't need to respond to disrespect. Her success does all the talking for her, and it's working like a charm. Brands continue to line up. Kids wear her jerseys in every city, and even casual sports fans who never watched women's basketball before now tune in because of her. She's not just changing how people view the WNBA. She's changing what it means to be a women's athlete in America. The chaos surrounding her has become the very stage that highlights her greatness. Every controversy eventually fades, but her impact keeps growing at an exponential rate. At this point, it's crystal clear that Caitlin Clark doesn't need to prove herself to anyone. She's already completely rewritten the rules. While others fight for fleeting headlines, she's actively shaping history. And as the WNBA frantically tries to catch up to her unstoppable momentum, one thing becomes absolutely certain: Caitlin Clark isn't just part of the story anymore. She is the uproar over one careless comment revealed something far bigger than a single player's opinion. It exposed a league still deeply struggling to balance pride with genuine progress. Caitlin Clark continues to rise, completely untouched by drama, while others fall into the noise trying desperately to keep up. Her silence, her unwavering focus, and her undeniable dominance have turned every single insult into pure fuel. The truth is simple: she's not just reshaping the WNBA, she's redefining how greatness handles pressure. And if this controversy proved anything, it's that no amount of disrespect can slow down the player who already changed the game forever.